accomplishments during his first year in office. It comes as he's digging in on efforts to take over Greenland, now insisting there's no going back. But the push for the U.S. to control Greenland is confounding European leaders today. French President Emmanuel Macron confirming he sent a text message to President Trump that Mr. Trump published on social media overnight. In it, Mr. Macron wrote to President Trump, "I do not understand what you are doing on Greenland." All of this as the president heads to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland later, where he'll meet with world leaders on this issue and to unveil a board of peace to oversee reconstruction of Gaza. Joining us now, NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba in Washington and NBC News correspondent Ellison Barber is in Nuuk, Greenland for us today. Monica, I'll start with you. The president spending a lot of time touting what he has accomplished in his words. What did we hear?
Yeah, this is what he perceives as his top successes in this first year of the second term, Kate. And the White House really trying to point to some of the accomplishments the president has made by executive order. He has signed nearly 230 of those over the course of the last year, which compares to only 50 that he signed in the first year of his first term. So the president speaking about a range of topics from the economy to immigration and beyond that. So certainly a moment in which the president coming to the briefing room, which this past year is a more rare occurrence. He certainly takes questions very frequently, but from the podium there, he's done that about 2 times in the last year. But many people might remember that during the first term, during the COVID era pandemic, the president would come to the briefing room to answer questions about that repeatedly. But the president really, again, trying to argue that he is doing things that people will feel the benefits of in the future, given that there are a lot of concerns about affordability and economic proposals that the president has been discussing. Kate.
Yeah, Monica, it has been a stunning 24 hours between President Trump and European allies, particularly this latest exchange we mentioned with French President Macron. Can you walk us through what is going on between these world leaders?
This is really like text message diplomacy, which is not a new development for the president. This is somebody who really does like to speak directly to some of these leaders, to his allies. And I think these leaders also know that these messages aren't necessarily always going to be kept private, because the president sometimes issues his thoughts to them on Truth Social, on social media, before he actually delivers it to them in person. But this was a really interesting message from President Macron, in which he does praise the president on one hand, saying that he would like to work together and have conversations about other areas, but then also saying he really doesn't understand what his strategy is on Greenland, and inviting him to Paris to continue those conversations after he leaves Davos. But we're told by the White House that at this time, there are no plans for the president to do that. Kate.
Monica, thanks. Ellison, let me bring you in. You're actually on the ground in Greenland. I know you've been speaking with locals there. What are they saying? How are they feeling?
You know, a lot of people are frustrated, but it goes beyond that when you talk to people. For a lot of people, what they feel right now is rage towards President Trump and the United States. We heard again and again, Greenland is not for sale. We are not Americans. We do not want to be Americans. One woman telling me in terms of President Trump, she said he needs to understand that no means no. Listen.
We are not for sale, and we have the most beautiful nature. We don't want to be Americans.
If he wanted to take this country, he could take this country, I guess. If it would serve him very well, I don't think so. But apparently he does whatever he wants to. So we have Putin on one side doing what he wants to, and Donald Trump on the other side doing the exact same thing.
And for a lot of people, Kate, there's also a sense of fear. One woman telling us, we don't know what will happen to Greenland. We are afraid we could be bombed like we saw the U.S. do in Venezuela. Today, the Prime Minister of Greenland telling people he thinks a military conflict is not likely, but that he believes they cannot rule it out either. Kate.
All right, Ellison Barber, great to have you on the ground there. Thank you for that reporting. And Monica Alba at the White House, thanks. Actor Timothy Busfield is in a New Mexico court today for a pretrial detention hearing. It's to see whether or not he'll remain in jail while his child sex abuse